Hey, it's Dave here, and in this video we're going to start to unpack the hydrogen and methane breath test that you can do to detect whether SIBO might be a problem for you. And so in the previous video, we talked about the idea that a SIBO breath test takes about 3 or 4 hours to do, and it involves providing a gas or breath sample every 20 minutes or so for 3 to 4 hours, and that they measure the gases in the breath to give you an indication of where the bacterial overgrowth might be in the digestive system. Now, the two gases that they're evaluating are hydrogen and methane. And so some types of bacteria that overgrow in the small intestine produce a lot of hydrogen, and some types produce a lot of methane. Sometimes you can have both, and sometimes you might not have either. And the real reason I'm filming this video is just to explain all the different patterns that you can see on the test result, so that you can understand how to interpret that a little bit and what it means. So the first sign that you're going to have SIBO is if you have a high baseline level. So a high baseline of hydrogen or methane or both can tell you that you have SIBO. You shouldn't have very high amounts of hydrogen and methane at baseline level, when you haven't eaten anything. They should just be nice and low and normal. So that's the first sign. The second sign is once you've drunk your sugar solution, remember usually it's lactulose that you drink, the lactulose moves down your digestive system all the way down through your intestine into your colon, and what happens is if the bacteria are overgrowing and they start to ferment or use that sugar as food, then they start to produce more and more of these gases. And so generally, if there's a significant increase in either hydrogen and methane or both before about 120 minutes after you've drunk the sugar solution, then it's a good indicator that you probably have some sort of SIBO going on in there. Might be hydrogen SIBO, might be methane, might be a little bit of both. You may have heard me in other videos talk about the idea that sometimes you can tell by the symptoms that you have. Hydrogen overgrowth tends to be more associated with loose stools and diarrhea, whereas methane tends to be more associated with constipation and a slowing down of the digestive system. I haven't found that that's black and white. It's very mixed. Sometimes that pattern seems to hold true for people, but sometimes it's turned on its head. Another potential positive result in the SIBO breath test, in addition to high baseline levels and significant gas increases in the first 120 minutes, is just a flat line of hydrogen and methane. If you just don't see any gas at all in the breath test, it can indicate that there's a different type of SIBO in there called hydrogen sulfide producing SIBO. So these bacteria like to produce a different gas, and they produce hydrogen sulfide. So what they do is they basically chow up all the methane and the hydrogen that some of the bugs are producing, and they use those gases, they absorb, take those gases in, and then through their metabolism, they emit or produce lots of hydrogen sulfide. And so on the test result, you can literally see pretty much zero hydrogen or very low hydrogen, sometimes very low methane as well. And that can indicate that there's a hydrogen sulfide problem. Now, it actually really matters to understand whether you have a hydrogen overgrowth, a methane overgrowth, or a hydrogen sulfide overgrowth, or possibly a mixture of hydrogen and methane, because it does affect the type of diet and the type of supplements and treatment methods that you use to deal with the problem. So some of the dietary recommendations for dealing with hydrogen sulfide are unique and specific to that particular type of overgrowth and are not quite so helpful for hydrogen or methane overgrowth. So it is very important to understand which one you have and what exactly is going on there. Now, the cool thing is that you can use the SIBO breath test to measure after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, your progress to see whether those gas levels have come down or whether the hydrogen sulfides started to go away and some of these gas levels have actually started to come up again. So it's a very, very useful test in that regard. Now, just finally, there's a whole array and range of different measurements and amounts of gas that you're going to find in different people, and it doesn't always correlate with the severity of the symptoms. So some people can have really mild increases in the gas levels, but they can feel really unwell. Other people can have quite severe increases in gas levels. They're probably still not going to feel great, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to feel a whole lot worse than these mild people here. But whatever the situation is, it's got to be taken on an individual basis. We don't want to be trying to fit into boxes and group together as if we're all the same with this kind of thing. The way that you respond to the different protocols, the way that your body responds to the specific type of overgrowth in these bacteria that you have and the gases that they are producing is going to be very unique to you. So I do encourage, if you've had a lot of bloating, a lot of heartburn, or if you've been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, they are very, very good signs that there might be some SIBO occurring in your body, in your digestive system. The one caveat to that, and this is the real pain in the ass, is that the same symptoms that are caused by SIBO can also be caused by other things. Sometimes you can have a lot of bloating and heartburn, diarrhea, IBS type symptoms from just the foods you're eating. Sometimes it can be the result of parasites. Sometimes it can be the result of H. pylori or yeast and fungal overgrowth. And all of those things might actually be happening because of problems further back up the stream, if you like. So if you have a underactive thyroid and your body's energy levels are down, then you might not be able to squeeze the food through your digestive system as effectively, and that provides the basis or the foundation, if you like, for a load of these bad bugs to start overgrowing. So if you have some confusion about this, please get in touch. Arrange a consultation from the link below, or even get started with some digestive testing. Again, you can find details of that in the link below as well. But I would suggest starting with a consultation so that we can point you in the right direction. We'll review your diet, we'll review the health history and the symptoms, and just look at what we think is probably most likely to be happening, and then make the recommendations from there for the right kind of test. So I hope this has been helpful. In the next in the next video, I'm actually just going to move on to the computer screen, and I'm going to show you some sample reports from SIBO breath tests that indicate different patterns of overgrowth, so that you can see exactly how that works when you get the results back. Check out the links below. If you're in confusion, don't hesitate to contact us, as I say, and I will catch you next time. Thank you.